Welcome back, listeners, to the Hero Whispers here on Society Bites Radio, iHeartRadio, part of Supergirls.com. You are here tonight with Jean Marie, Chief Supergirl. And
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jen.
Hi, we have YIHUI Shen on the line. Her American name is Eva, but she is a phenomenal force of nature. She hails from China and has a Master of Arts in Performing Arts Administration from NYU. She also has a degree in International Studies from Shanghai University and studied abroad in Italy. This genius of a gal speaks 5 languages: Chinese and 2 dialects, Italian, English, and Japanese. She is basically WonderWoman. Her phenomenal work in the arts is award-winning, and she has been acclaimed as a BroadwayCon Speaker, a TEDX Broadway Young Professional, as well as won several prizes for original scriptwriting at the Shanghai Theater Festival. The world is blessed to have this young talent grace our presence. YIHUI wishes to pursue a lifetime career in the arts. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. So exciting.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm excited too.
So your friend Holly Yao introduced us a while ago, and I asked her, give me your baddest ass friends that I'd like to have as guests on the show, and you are one of them. How do you feel about that?
I feel so flattered. Actually, I feel so honored to be here. And Holly is, guys, if you haven't listened to her podcast, I recommend you just hear that. It's like amazing. She's amazing.
Well, thank you. She's lucky to have friends like you giving her that kind of support. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you guys know each other, by the way?
Sorry?
How do you guys know each other? How do you know Holly?
Oh, so it's a long story, but I will keep the long story short. So 2 years ago, I arrived in the United States and started my study abroad. And I happened to know one dance teacher in Shanghai. So I used to learn swing dance. And she said, like, I know another really amazing girl who also studied in the United States. You guys should meet. And then I just call her, and then we meet, hang out a little bit. And we spent like 3 hours just for the first meeting. We just talked a lot. And we are also like both of us come from Shanghai, so we have a lot of in common. That's how we met.
That's so great. That's the essence of networking. You know, you have all that in common.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, okay. So let's just talk about what a badass you are with 5 languages. That's crazy amazing to me. How did you do that? Like, was that on purpose that you did that?
No, I mean, so like Chinese and Shanghai dialect is because I'm raised in Shanghai, China, so I can do both languages. And then English, so I started to learn English when I was 6 and 7 in elementary school. And then, but I didn't get a lot of chance to really speak it until I get to the United States, but that's another story. And then my undergraduate major was Italian literature and language. And I also won a scholarship from China, and I went to Naples for 1 year to learn Italian. So that is how I learned Italian. And Japanese is kind of like my hobby because I used to be a huge animation cartoon fan. So I learned a lot of some daily language of Japanese. So that's how I acquired 5 languages.
Wow. Let me tell you, I am an animation fan too, but I don't think I could learn Japanese. So way to go, girl. I'm gonna have to compare notes with you on this anime stuff because I need to find lots of sites with the imagery. I use that on the Supergirls website too. So we have to talk about that later.
Okay, cool.
Super cool. Okay. So I want to hear about how you went from Shanghai to New York and this obsession with Broadway and musical theater. Has this been something you've done your whole life?
Actually, surprisingly, no. You know what? Because, musical in China is super emerging market, and it's still very young. I have been working for a Chinese musical company called 7 Ages for 4 years. Before that, I just barely know anything about musical. I only know plays and drama because I've never watched a show in China before, and for some reason I just get an internship for 7 Ages, which I work for now, in the venue, in the theater. I just help them to sell the product and the merchandise, but I get the chance to watch the show. The show that we were doing was called Avenue Q. I don't know if you guys know it. It's just like
yes,
dirty,
it's an amazing show. Yeah.
And it's translated in Chinese. I was like, wow, that's totally different from what I expected for a musical, and it's very funny, entertaining. That's how I started to have the interested in the musical. And then the supervisor said, I think you are good. Why don't you just join us and do something? I always have a long-term interest in theater, and I said, yeah, maybe musical could be a choice for me. So I just accepted the offer and then just started to doing musical things. And I used to be in the market department, so I have a lot of chance to really meet and interact with the audience. That's how I feel so fulfilled, because you can see how satisfied and so happy they are after they watch the show. And then 2 years later, I decided to go abroad, and my supervisor said, like, instead of quitting your job, why don't I transfer you to licensing department? So when I studied in America, I still work for 7 Ages, but in the licensing department. That helps me to really expand my horizon, open up my mind, because I can have a lot of chance to deal with the licensing agents and to know more about musical theater and Broadway world. Yeah.
You're an avid fan. Are you an actual talent, like a musical talent also?
You mean sing or dancing thing?
Yeah, it's like a triple threat, because I heard you say that you were a dancer.
So no, I started to learn the piano when I was 4 years old. So I know some music stuff, and I can dance for Chinese folk dance. But I'm not that like musical performer. But I really appreciate, and I like acting too. But I really appreciate the real actors on stage. You know what? So I applied for performing arts administration major at NYU. But before that, I wanted to apply for acting. I was so bold that I want to do that. But the more I work for 7 Ages, the more I like see how talented the real professional actors are. I noticed that maybe I can really do some stuff for them to get them to really celebrate their accomplishments instead of like standing there. And I started to figure out that I'm right. I think I love this job now, administrative thing, and really talk a lot with people.
Wow. I mean, and so you came to NYU to study that, to get specific about the administration. And what made you come to NYU?
Because I have been to Europe for 1 year, and I kind of get the vibe there. And in terms of my master's degree, I wanted to know more. And New York has Broadway, so that's what I should end up with. So I choose NYU, and I've heard they have a very great program. Yeah, that's why I chose NYU 2 years ago.
And so do you think you're going to stay in New York now that you're done? You're going to stay and pursue more Broadway type things, or are you going to go back to China?
Yeah, I will go back to China in 10 days. August 22nd, I will go back to China because I have discussed with my supervisor for 7 Ages, and they wanted to expand more in China. And I would love to do something for my own community back in my home country. So I will go back to China. But I really I feel very grateful for what I've learned and experienced in the United States. I think I can now bring something home.
I mean, I think that is so exciting. You are going to have a real impact on, the development of this art in China. That's like huge.
Yeah, I feel so excited. I think there is some voice calling my name, say, come back, come back. I don't know. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to do something. I know it will be very hard, very challenging, because in China, uh, like in Shanghai and Beijing, like Guangzhou, they're tier one first class city. They know what musical is now. But in the tier two cities, some audience still cannot figure out like differentiate a musical from opera. They think they're the same things. So there's a lot of audience development, engagement, accessibility things that we need to do. Yeah.
And what about the talent base? In terms of like here, there's so many actors and so much talent in the States. Is it the same way
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. Because my master essay is still about the talent pool in China, so I can say something about that. I noticed that the first musical specific major in China was established in 1992 or 93. So it's like only 30 years ago. There's not a lot of talent people, I mean, specific professional people in China. But I think I really treat it as a opportunity. Like, there's some vacancy, and there's a lot more work has to be done. So that's why I need to go back. And I also feel like, there is a very huge hit TV series called Super Vocal, which they invited some opera singers and musical singers to compete and to sing songs last year. It was super hit. And it actually attracts more people to pay more attention to musical theater. And I think that's a good start. And not to mention the economic growth. So there is a magic figure, like if a country or a territory or an area that the people has the GDP for like 10,000 USD, musical will have a huge growth. It is proved by Japan and Korea. They have been through that. So I think China will soon have that turning point. I'm so excited about everything.
Yeah, so when you talk about your vision for your life, I mean, is this how you see yourself blossoming and flourishing in this whole way of like kind of like paving the road, paving the new path in China for theater?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
it's like
amazing.
A racer. You're running all the way. Uh-huh.
What? Well, congratulations, and I mean, I wish you the best of luck. It's going to be epic. It really is going to be epic.
Thank you so much. Uh-huh.
Well, when you came to NYU, what was the best part about it for you?
I think NYU is such a big community. You have a lot of chance to really know people. Especially, NYU is really a great college and university. So the people who can get in this university mean something. It's a big deal. So I appreciate the network and the community that around me. I really have made a lot of friends here. And no matter they are in the musical theater or not, they always teach me something.
Well, I teach at NYU. I don't know if you know that, but I teach in...
I know.
And I teach a lot of Chinese students that come over. But there's an NYU in Shanghai, right? So did you come to New York specifically because of the theater and just to get to the heart of musical theater? Because you could have done NYU over there too, right?
I mean, partially, yes, because I want to know how America looks like.
Yeah.
Vividly. So partially, yes. And I just want to know how other culture, what is the other culture, different culture?